Bodies were found dismembered with surgical precision. Cuts so clean investigators believed the killer had medical or butchering training. They were never caught. This is the story of the Hinterland Butcher. British Columbia's interior is one of the most isolated regions in North America. Endless forests, miles of unpaved logging roads, towns separated by hours of nothing but trees, creeks, and abandoned work sites. Back then, the region was even more remote. People hitchhiked because they had no other way to move between camps, towns, and highways. Indigenous women, seasonal workers, runaways, and young travelers used those roads constantly, and the wrong ride could be their last. Between the early 1970s and the mid-1980s, bodies began turning up in places where almost no one should have been. Down embankments, hidden in the brush where only loggers or hunters would ever go. The victims had been dismembered, but not chaotically. Not the way most killers try to dispose of a body. Joints were separated cleanly. Tissue was removed with accuracy. Investigators said it looked like someone who knew anatomy, someone who understood where to cut, and how much pressure it took. This wasn't improvisation, it was skill. Police estimated 8 to 12 victims, but the true number is unknown. Some were never reported missing, and several were discovered so long after their deaths that even identifying them was impossible. To this day, a number of them remain Jane Does. The locations made things worse. Some bodies weren't found for months, others for years. Winter snow buried evidence. Animals scattered remains. By the time investigators reached a scene, they usually found little more than bones. Still, they noticed a pattern. The same remote roads, the same type of victims, the same level of anatomical precision. Enough to give the unknown killer a name, the Hinterland Butcher. The RCMP launched a massive investigation, but the challenges were overwhelming. Crime scenes were spread across hundreds of kilometers. Different detachments handled different cases, and communication between them was slow. Leads got lost. Reports didn't match. Suspects came and went. A butcher who lived near one of the sites. A logging camp cook who had a history of violence. A long-haul trucker who repeatedly drove through the area. A man with military medical training who happened to disappear around the same time the killings stopped. None of them were charged. Over time, people noticed something else. These murders overlapped with disappearances along Highway 16, a stretch now known as the Highway of Tears. More than 40 women have vanished along that corridor since 1970, many of them indigenous. The Hinterland Butcher's victims fit the same pattern. The geography matched, and the timeline lined up almost exactly. Some investigators believe the butcher was responsible for at least some of those cases. Others think he was a separate predator who operated at the same time. Either way, the region was full of danger, and women were going missing long before anyone connected the dots. There are other theories too. The killer might have been a trucker who died or moved away. A logger who worked seasonally and drifted from camp to camp. Someone arrested for a different crime, locked away before police ever realized who they had. 40 years later, cold case units still review the evidence. DNA technology improves every year. But in this one, the biggest obstacle is time. Most biological evidence degraded decades ago. Family members who could help identify victims have passed away. Witnesses are gone. Memories are unreliable. He chose victims who were vulnerable. Routes where no one kept records. Roads where even if a body was found, weather and wildlife would destroy almost everything. The wilderness protected him, and it still does. Who was the Hinterland Butcher? A local with hunting experience? A trucker passing through with surgical training from a previous life? Or someone whose name has been forgotten, but whose crimes remain buried in the forest? The Hinterland Butcher vanished. The questions didn't. Tell me your theory in the comments, and subscribe for the next case.